Hello, everybody, and welcome again to this series of interviews that we're having lately. Today, I have the pleasure to introduce you to my dear friend, Nir Thiemert. Very nice to see you, and very glad and excited that you are here with us. So thank you very much for taking the time to be here.
Thank you. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, everybody. So my name is Nia, and I currently live in England, in the beautiful countryside of Berkshire.
But Nir is originally from Mauritius, and today she's going to talk to us about Mauritian weddings.
Indeed.
So that brings a very colorful conversation.
Okay. Yeah, that brings me back to my own wedding. So I'll just give you a little insight of what really happens for a Mauritian wedding.
So to start with, Nir, tell us a little bit about what happens before the wedding. Are there any special arrangements?
So I think it depends on the different people. Some would be, even if you think about how weddings are done nowadays, some people meet their other half online, others meet in a party, and there are still instances where it is arranged. So you still have some arranged marriages happening where you would have aunties and uncles trying to match people up. So that's I find it still quite intriguing. So I know of a few friends who have had arranged marriage and they are very happy together. So, but when we come to this actual ceremony itself, usually you would have the parents heavily involved in the weddings. They would be taking care of the invitations, gathering people together. And it's when you talk about Mauritian or a Hindu wedding in Mauritius, it is usually a lavish affair. You would have to really make sure your friends are invited, your siblings, the auntie and cousins and nieces and nephews, and the invitation list can get quite long. So a typical wedding would be around an invitation list of about maybe 300 to 500 people.
Wow, that is a lot of people indeed.
But you know, there's a massive cost associated. So at times you just want to make sure that everyone is there having a good party as well. So there are different types and varieties of wedding happening, and depending on all sorts of budgets as anywhere else in the world. But yeah, it is usually preparation of the venue, making sure you've got the outfits. And I remember myself when I got married, we did our wedding in Mauritius, and we actually went to India to buy our outfits, which was quite exciting.
Very exciting, yeah.
Yes, so because you have to choose your outfits over a range of days and you have to plan it. There are specific color schemes you have to go with. And each day represents something. So you plan it out, and you have not just the outfits, but all the accessories that go with it. So it can get quite exciting, mainly for the girls. The boys, I don't know.
So tell us a bit more about that in terms of, so how long do you normally celebrate a Hindu wedding, and also what's the dress etiquette for the bride and the groom?
So you would have a typical traditional wedding would be around 4 days. It starts on a Friday and finishes on the Monday. And on the Friday, basically, you would have something called a mehendi night, henna. I don't know if you're aware of henna. So it is made out of fresh leaves, which is crushed in a paste. So now you can buy ready-made in shops. And they do this intrinsic kind of designs on your hand, on your palm, on the front and the back, and on your feet as well. And it is really a purification. It is like making sure it is very fragrant. So you really get an atmosphere going with this henna design. I can actually show you some pictures.
Please do, yes.
So if we look at, so this is the henna. So usually henna night is associated with, let's say, a singing as well. It's called sangeet. So this is an Indian word which means singing and song. So you would have, you see, it's usually done in the girls' side. So usually boys and girls stay away from each other until the main wedding day. They're not allowed to meet each other. And you know, the henna is drawn. At times you would, there are like little cute things being done. They might insert the groom's name in the design. And it's quite exciting. It's very girly. And you would have also the Sangeet ceremony, which is the singing and dancing. So everybody participates. There's a lot of good vibes on the Friday. So that's the Friday evening. There's no really dress code. It's just a normal kind of get together with the family. Some other people would do some prayers beforehand, but that's the Thursday.
So there would be no guests with them that night.
You would have some guests. You would have, say, your close friends, your school friends, your bridesmaids, your people start coming together, and in the background they would be having different things being done, still maybe preparing for the next few days of the wedding. So it's like a little get together. Think about it as you are in Christmas Eve. You're still wrapping your presents.
That's very nice, very nice.
So it's a nice cozy feeling, and you still are having fun. Some people do it at home. Some people do it in a venue. Others, where they have really lavish weddings, they would have it in hotels, and it will be catered for. There will be external people coming to sing. There'll be local bands. So it is quite a variety, but that starts it. It kicks off the sort of ceremony. And yeah.
So what about the Saturday and the Sunday? So which day would be the main celebration?
So the main celebration is really the Sunday, because that's the wedding day. But if we were to go on the Saturday, it would be more to do with something called haldi. So haldi is do you know turmeric? It's a spice. It's a yellow spice that perhaps you use in paella. I don't know. And it is actually used in curries. So if you were to cook a curry, you would use turmeric. But turmeric is also a purification, and it is associated with purifying the bride and groom before the main day, and also beautifying them. They would be put in the face. There's a whole ceremony. Everything is associated with a sort of religious ceremony beforehand. So on the Friday, Saturday, and even Sunday, it is all vegetarian menus. You don't eat meat. They say you can't have any drinks, but I'm sure there's a cheeky one going around.
When you say any drinks, you mean any alcoholic drinks?
Yes.
Okay, right.
And sorry. And so that would kickstart. So there's a priest that would come and do the ceremony. Let me see if I can share with you some of the pictures that happen on that day. Give me a second. And so you would, as you can see here you would see some, in the middle here, you would see the actual turmeric paste being made. So it is raw turmeric being ground together to make that paste, and the bride and groom, both on their own side, will get that on their face and not their body, but you know, they would all be dressed in yellow, obviously, because it is turmeric and it stains. And usually only someone who has been married can go and apply the turmeric. It's like a blessing as well.
Right, very interesting. I see.
And then the evening finishes and everybody goes to bed, ready for the big day on Sunday.
Wow. And so on Sunday, will the ceremony start very early in the morning? Do you normally do it in the evening? How does it work?
It depends. It depends on what the priest will tell you. So, as you had mentioned earlier, part of the wedding preparation is actually defining which date is most auspicious for you to be having your wedding. The stars need to be aligned, and everything needs to be in the favor. So there'll be a lot of I don't know what they do, the priest, but that's what happens. and they would tell you usually the time that you would get married. But nowadays, I think it is also linked to the availability of venues. So it is very practical.
That makes sense. Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, then say for example, a typical wedding would be either starting 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, or you can have those being in the evening where people want to have it as a night wedding and then straight into dinner. But one thing I forgot to mention, which is the food eaten on the haldi, on the Saturday, is so it's called in Mauritius, it's called set curry, which is a French word or a Creole word for 7 curries.
Wow! So you actually have 7 curries?
Yes, and you eat it on a banana leaf. Before it was banana leaf, but nowadays it is a piece of, I don't know, recycled kind of paper, which looks like a banana leaf.
Right.
And so you have this, and usually I gate crash weddings to just go and eat the curries. So it is normal. It is normal to say, because it is such a big event, you would know someone associated with the wedding, and they love having people around. So I remember in December I was in Mauritius, and I met my friend from Australia. She came for a cousin's wedding, and I was like, oh my God, I so want to eat set curry. She's like, come over to the wedding. So I just dressed up.
So it's normal, and if somebody saw you there, they wouldn't, they wouldn't tell you off or anything like that.
They wouldn't. I think it depends also. You wouldn't abuse of this, but you want to go, and if you know people, even if you're not being invited, just for the Saturday, I would tend to just go and say hello, give your good wishes. I don't know how normal this is, but I tend to go.
That sounds like good fun, and obviously there's good food involved. So hey,
yes. All vegetarian food. But it is, I'll tell you that it's like typical. If you want to know what it is, like a butter bean curry, it would be butternut squash. It would be with puris. I don't know, the flat bread that you deep fry, with some rice, other little curries, and in total it is about 7.
My goodness. That sounds really, really interesting and very yummy indeed. So let's move on then to the main day that you said it might start around 1 or 2 o'clock. So how does that work? How does it work?
So on the main day, everybody's getting ready. So they would be dressed, usually the bride is dressed in red, and they would wear some Indian outfits. So, and then the groom, depends on the grooms, they might be more subtle kind of creamy colors or white. So not some do get dressed in red as well, but it really depends. But the main thing is that the bride is in a red outfit. I'll show you actually. So this is how they are. So as you can see, they're all adorned with all the jewelry and the makeup, and it is quite special. And actually, it is quite heavy, these outfits. And it's in Mauritius, it is really hot, the weather, and it's quite. So you'll be melting in these outfits.
But I must say that they are spectacular, so colorful and so pretty.
Absolutely, and you can see that it is also associated with still religious ceremonies going on, but the red color is associated with fertility and beauty, and that's why it's all very pretty and red. And then you will see in this little picture down here that there is a live fire.
Wow.
So this is the symbol of the life. So they would be doing 7 rounds as a bride and groom. You can see they're standing here. They will do 7 rounds as a bride and groom, and at each round of the fire, they'll be saying a vow. Don't ask me about the vows, I forgot about.
So what does it, say it again, what does it mean that they walk around the fire? It symbolizes, sorry?
So they each round that they do around the fire, they would say a vow about the wedding.
Okay.
I will take care of you, I will do whatever. So, but I forgot about them. I can't remember what. And it's all in Hindi. I don't even know much Hindi anymore.
And so you mentioned as well that the brides wear red. What does it have a special meaning?
Yes, it's about fertility, about beauty. So they're all in red, and it is considered to be very auspicious.
Wow. Okay, brilliant. And so how long is normally that ceremony? How long does it?
So it would be around, I think, about an hour and a half. So it is a lot of different things happening, exchange of gifts, people, like a lot of prayer stuff. And then you're up on the stage and everybody is in the hall or in a temple, wherever the wedding will be, or nowadays quite fancy, they're all done on the beach. So it is all these different settings, but the meanings and the actual ceremony is still the same, where they do prayers and do different things where they tie the bond between the husband and wife.
Right. And then at the end of the ceremony, do they go and have their meal or?
So at the end of the ceremony, there's usually a lot of picture taking.
Okay. Understandably, yes.
And quite symbolic at the end of a Hindu wedding ceremony. Each person in the hall or in the audience are given flowers, fresh flowers.
Okay.
Where at the end of all the ceremony, they will throw it towards the bride and groom as blessing. It is quite spectacular. So I remember once being on stage, so I was, I think, a bridesmaid and sitting next to the bride and groom, and you just see all the flowers coming towards it. It's quite spectacular.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm sure it is. Yeah. So I have one last question. So with that amount of people invited to the wedding, you also said that they do a present exchange. So what's the expectation? Is there a wedding list and people, just choose something from that wedding list, or how does it work?
I think back in the days, people would come and just bring presents, and it would be like your usual wedding crockery of glasses and pots and pans. But nowadays, I think they just put in the invitation card, no presents. So usually people just bring give monetary gifts, or usually money nowadays. And there's no wedding list really in Mauritius, not that I'm aware of right now, but usually it's not. But I tell you a little story. I remember when I was really little, I was maybe about 8 years old, and my auntie was getting married. And back in the days, it was very different the way weddings were done. It's all evolved with, influence of social media and all these pop stars. But I remember there was, when my auntie got married, people from the entire village and families and everybody came to the wedding. And when we say about the presents, so people were giving presents. And I remember there was just one room filled with presents. It was like Santa's attic or something. And but the bride and the groom are not allowed to go and touch the presents.
I see.
Yes. I think it's all about being very cautious, or the myth and something might happen, bad omen or whatever it is. But that stuck with me still. It's like bride and groom not allowed to do anything, just sit and be pretty.
So they can wait until the following day to see what presents they have.
Yeah, even after a week, usually they would, it's the parents or the siblings who would open and just tell them what it is. But and also, when all these people are invited, people at times choose which day to attend. They don't go to everything, not necessarily. So some might just go on the Saturday, some might just go on the Sunday, some do the entire thing. Close family would be expected to do the entire thing. And then, so that's the end of Sunday, wedding day. Usually typical meals served would be biryani, still vegetarian. Unless it is done in a hotel, then there are buffet, there are different menu options. And then the bride and groom so the bride goes to the groom's house now.
Okay.
And usually one of the bridesmaids goes with them.
Okay.
Yeah, as a sort of assistant to the bride.
Very handy, yeah, especially to get undressed, I guess.
Yeah, I was my aunties. I remember I was like, why am I going? But yeah, that's what happens.
So what about the Monday? That would be the last day, right?
Yeah, Monday is more to do with the actual party day. So usually you would have, for traditional typical ones, the bride's family would be inviting the groom's family over for lunch.
Uh-huh.
And then in the evening, usually the bride and groom, they now host their own party. Because usually the weddings is funded by the parents. And
Okay.
then
Is this the groom's parents or the bride's?
both parents.
Uh-huh.
But then on the final day, I'll just show you. It's the wedding reception. It's like party central. It's like what we would know in Europe perhaps as the wedding day. And some actually wear a traditional kind of European style wedding dress. And then there's a lot of picture being taken, a lot of dancing. You can see in the picture here, this is traditional Sega dancing, which is the Mauritian dance. And there is usually wedding cakes and also little favors that are given. So,
right. Oh my goodness, it sounds so beautiful and very, very interesting. It makes me want to go to a Hindu wedding now.
you're invited to my brother's wedding. I mean, he's not yet getting married, but you know, everyone's invited.
Lovely. That was really nice to hear. Thank you so much, Nir, for taking your time and tell us all about the Hindu or Mauritian weddings.
It's been a pleasure. I'm actually reviving some moments now, so it's quite nice to even think about that after you've attended a wedding or participated in one. So yes, thank you for allowing me to share my sort of experience with you all.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye-bye for now.